Hi everyone, Sef Alchemist here. Tarot is such a fascinating tool that can help you decipher occult wisdom. But what many don't know is that tarot is directly related to alchemy. It's the representation of the grand work, or what we call the magnum opus. To begin with, many of the symbols and sigils and imagery that you find in tarot are the exact same ones you find in alchemy. If anything, in order to decipher this imagery, you need to know alchemy. Before I move forward, I'm going to take you back in time. Back to the time of the renowned alchemist Nicolas Flamel. Many people think that he's just a fictional character from the Harry Potter movies. But Nicolas Flamel is one of the most renowned alchemists that have ever existed in the 14th century in medieval Europe, and more specifically in France. Nicolas Flamel claimed that he had produced the Philosopher's Stone. Not the spiritual Philosopher's Stone that many talk about, but the actual Philosopher's Stone as in a physical object. But how did he do so? He got his hands on this mysterious book called the Book of Abraham the Jew. Apparently, he was able to decipher this book, which teaches how to make the Philosopher's Stone or how to reach it. I want to bring to your attention here that the Book of Abraham the Jew is a mysterious book that no one knows where it is. You're going to find online books that are titled the Book of Abraham the Jew, but this is not the actual book. These are just books written by authors that describe or discuss the Book of Abraham the Jew. It's not the actual one that teaches you how to make the Philosopher's Stone. But as I have mentioned, even if you get your hands on the real one, you need to be able to decipher it because it's a coded book. But once you're able to decipher it, you can make the Philosopher's Stone, the real stone that supposedly can give you eternal life, eternal youth, eternal health, and eternal riches and power. That's why most kings and rulers in medieval time in Europe were obsessed with finding the Philosopher's Stone and hired alchemists all around Europe with the purpose to reach this mysterious magical stone. After reaching the Philosopher's Stone, Nicolas Flamel, out of the blue, became so rich and wealthy. People said that he became wealthy overnight. But there are rumors that that wealth came from his wife's family, but nothing is certain here because no one knows really how did he get that wealth overnight. But many believe that it was due to him reaching the Philosopher's Stone. It could be because he was able to turn base metals into gold, but there is no proof or evidence of that. And usually things like this that happen in history that sound or seem magical, there's usually no proof or evidence for them. The mysterious magical Book of Abraham the Jew was a very small booklet that contained only 21 pages. Here again, this reminds me of the Emerald Tablet, which is only one tablet, one page. And here again, the book that teaches you how to make the Philosopher's Stone is only 21 pages, meaning that things that are holding knowledge, wisdom, and true magic, they don't need to be in thousands and thousands of pages. It's usually straight to the point, very short, in a small book. But here we have 21 pages. Why 21 pages specifically? Where do we find this number? In the major arcanas of tarot. But we all know that the major arcanas are 22, not 21. That's because we have the intriguing major arcana called the Fool, which is one of the most important major arcanas in tarot. It is the foundation and it is crucial to a spiritual journey. In most tarot decks, it is numbered as 0, meaning that it doesn't have a number. That's why there is 22 major arcanas. It's actually 21 with the Fool card being numbered as 0. But how does this relate to the number 21? Well, in alchemy, we have three main phases of transmutation to accomplish the grand work or the magnum opus. And I have addressed them in another video here on this channel. They are 3 stages: Nigredo, Albedo, and Rubedo. These are the 3 essential phases that one needs to go through in order to attain the Philosopher's Stone. But in each of these 3 phases, we have 7 essential stages. So in Nigredo, you have 7 stages. In Albedo, you have another 7 stages. And in Rubedo, you have another 7 stages. So if we do the math, 7 times 3, it's 21, which is coherent with the 21 essential major arcanas in tarot. But we have to address the Fool. Let me explain. I'm going to show you the Fool card from the Hermetic Tarot deck and how it is depicted. As you can see here, the number is 0. And what's written here is the spirit of the ether. And here we have the sigil that represents the air element in alchemy. And he's in nature. He has a dog companion, and I'm going to explain that very shortly. And he's ready to go on a journey. But let me show you another tarot deck. It was printed in 1735. It's a limited edition. I got it from the Museum of Tarot in Paris. So it's a very rare deck. But this is how tarot was in 1735. Let me show you the cards and show you the depiction of the Fool in this beautiful tarot. As you can see, it's kind of like playing cards, French playing cards. And this is the Fool card from that deck. The Fool here does not have a number. In recent decks like the Rider-Waite one or the Hermetic one, some tarot decks started giving him the number 0. But back in the day, hundreds of years ago, the Fool didn't have a number whatsoever. You just start directly from the card, the Magician. And the reason why we have this guy that is carrying his luggage or whatever he needs, which is very, very few, as you can see. It's not 3 suitcases full of stuff. It's just the bare necessities. And he has a dog companion, and he's going on a journey. Here the depiction is similar, but this is the more original depiction. He always have a dog companion. And the dog here is like pushing him and even tearing his cloth. If you see here, his pants. There's a tear, and he's pushing him directly in the skin area, in the area that's shown, that's naked. Why? Because the dog represents the basic instincts of humans. You need to start your journey based on desire. But these desires that come from wanting to explore and find out who we are. These desires that have no limitation. They have no sense or logic in reality. It's like when a dog is hungry, he just wants to eat. He doesn't care. If he wants to do something, he's not going to think twice. He's just going to do it. It's the basic instincts. These instincts are usually related to survival. And this can correlate with the root chakra in Hinduism, which is the energy point that is connected to the energy of desire. You're desiring something. You want something. The Fool is the same. For him or her to start the journey, the quest to transformation, to finding out what is this life all about, or to find out your mission or who you are, you need to have a desire, the desire to find out who you are. If you don't have that desire, you're not going to find out who you are to begin with. You're not going to have that will to go and explore. But this is how you start the quest anyways. And that's why the dog is pushing the Fool directly in the skin. And especially in the area here, it's near the root chakra. So that desire pushes you to start, which is what alchemists call the Fool's journey. And that's why it doesn't have a number, because this is the start, this is the beginning. Now, there are some theories that says, no, the Fool comes after the World card, which is number 21. And after you go through the 21 stages of transformation, you reach the world, and after the world, you become free and liberated. Yes, that's a possibility. Yes, there's a chance that the Fool could come after the 21 major arcanas, because after you go through the 21 stages of transformation, you are liberated, you become like spirit. That's why some tarot decks gave it the number 22. which comes after the World card, number 21. But the truth of the matter is that the Fool card does not have a number. It could be in the beginning or at the end. It could be both. And that's why the old tarot decks never gave it a number. But in recent decks, such as the Rider-Waite, gave it the number 0. So it has become more common to be perceived as the number 0, as the card that comes before the Magician. In the original tarot, and this one is the printed edition of 17, again, just to remind you, 1735. And specifically, it's the tarot of Jean-Pierre Laurent. He doesn't have a number like the other major arcanas. And he has a companion that represents his desires, that also keeps pushing him to explore as he's going through stage after stage after stage. He always have the bare minimum with him. That means he's not materialistic and he doesn't need much to survive. And he's traveling the world. That's why you see here we have water, we have land. Here the same here, we have the water. He's stamping on the land. So he's a pilgrim. He's a vagabond. He travels around the world to find out the mysteries, to find out who he or she is. In alchemy, he's called the pilgrim of the grand work. The Fool is a person who decides to go on a journey to uncover and to explore the unknown and the occult. And the occult simply means hidden. That's why this channel is called Occult Mysterium, because I'm sharing with you what's hidden. I'm sharing with you what's occult. What's occult is simply what's hidden, what's not known to everyone. So the pilgrim of the grand work, or the Fool, he is supposed to find these mysteries. He's supposed to follow the air, follow the wind, and see where it takes him, without any preconceptions or rules or dogmas or religions. He just goes with the air. And what is air? It's spirit. That means he follows spirit. That means he follows his intuition and the guidance that's sent from the universe, which is what every initiate is supposed to do. The Fool is also referred to sometimes as Mercury or Hermes. Hermes as the Greek ancient god, Hermes for the Greeks, and Mercury for the Romans. Hermes or Mercury was the messenger between the gods and the humans. He was the mediator. Because the pilgrim or the Fool is always in movement, just like Hermes and Mercury, who always have to go between humans and the gods to transfer the messages, the Fool, like Mercury, he's always moving from one place to the next. He never settles. He never settles anywhere. He's always on the move. And that's why Mercury or Hermes, in the depiction, he wears boots with wings in them, because these wings help him to fly and they help him to transport himself fast and to be always in movement. And we can notice this aspect in metallurgical Mercury. Mercury represents spirit in alchemy. Mercury is the metal associated with spirit. And it is also the only metal that never solidifies. It's always in liquid form. If you observe how Mercury is, it's always in movement, because it's the representation of spirit. He's also called the Fool because of how he is volatile and airy all the time. The wind takes him throughout a journey full of trials and tribulations, where he gets to experience 21 stages of transformation, represented by the 21 major arcanas. And like a nomad, throughout his journey, sometimes he's the magician, sometimes he's the empress, sometimes he's the hierophant, sometimes he's the hermit, and sometimes he's the justice. These are major arcanas in tarot. So he's always experiencing different aspects of himself, because in tarot you're not supposed to think about it as a consecutive thing that goes from 1 to 21. It's not in order, like the magician, the high priestess, the empress, the emperor, the hierophant, the lovers, and so on and so forth. It's not like that. It's not like, oh, you're supposed to first be a magician and then you become the high priestess and then you become the empress and then you become the emperor. No. You can be any of the 21 stages at any point in your life. At each point, you learn something different, something new. Sometimes you're going to be the hermit and learn something new. And sometimes you're going to be the emperor and learn something completely different. The Fool, what's amazing about him is that he or she is each one of us. It is you, it is the other person and the other person and the other person all around the world. And you're supposed to go through your transformational journey through the 21 major arcanas in tarot and learn wisdom, knowledge, go through your quest and find out who you truly are, activate your powers, and remember your past lives, build your empires. And sometimes you're going to have beautiful days and sometimes you're going to have bad days. Sometimes you're going to have a judgment day, just like the major arcana of the judgment. Sometimes you're going to meet your lover, like the lover card, and sometimes you're going to meet the devil, like the devil card. Every time it's different. But this is the beauty of alchemy and the beauty of tarot. And that's why I read tarot. It was the reason why I chose to become a tarot reader. It's not to divine the future, it's to understand the quest of the alchemical transformation. And this is the relationship between tarot and alchemy, and I'm barely scratching the surface here. There is much more information and much more connectivity between tarot and alchemy because they are part of the same initiate knowledge, the same occult wisdom that will be revealed to you if you decide to look for it, if you're ready to take on your transformational journey. And that's why I always say, be like the Fool. I mean the Fool of tarot, of major arcana of tarot, not the fool like the stupid one, as in the Fool here. And see where the wind takes you, see where the air takes you. And if you do so, you're gonna find yourself in the most beautiful, mysterious, hidden places that you can't even imagine. Thank you very much.